بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Okay, so we are at the third lesson of the second stage or second section, building the Islamic mindset. We have already talked about two very important subjects. Today we will be talking about another one, and we will keep doing that until we finish. Um, Today we'll be talking about cause and effect versus reliance. In Arabic, al-asbab versus at-tawakkul. Tawakkul means reliance on Allah, and al-asbab means causes, cause and effect. You do something and expecting something. So I think there is a lot of misconception in this where people when they hear the term reliance, they actually think it is kind of the opposite or versus causes and work. If you work, it's great, but if you want to rely on Allah, then what happens to a person's energy and mentality? It gets relaxed a little bit, which is great, but it shouldn't be the opposite of working. And the reason is this: reliance is something related to the heart. Reliance stems from knowledge of Allah. How much do you know about God? So, you know about God that God will take care of you, that God will open doors for you, that God is wise and will actually arrange things for you. You feel comfortable. So something related to the feeling, related to how a person look at something, while causes and work has to do with the laws of this stage, the stage of the dunya, where our soul and the self binded with the body, and because it's a body and we're not in heaven, we need to work. What does that mean? It means we need to remember what God said in the beginning when He created the universe. All of us as believers knows that God can order for something to happen and say that it to be and it becomes. Kun fayakun, be and it becomes. So why did Allah Almighty said that He created the heavens and earth in a period taking 6 days? And God knows what 6 days means. Okay. Is it 6 days our regular days, like the days where the sun, goes around the sun, or 6 days as in six rotations of the galaxy, or 6 days as in another thing? It depends. We don't know. We know it's 6 days. But why didn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that He created the heaven and the earth just in an instance to say to it, be and it becomes? Well, it's because it's kind of to teach us that this world has some properties, some attributes, and to rhyme with those attributes and properties, the creation of it was the same as of its characteristics. What does that mean? In this world we are living in right now before death, this stage requires from us, if we want something, to work towards it, to allocate time, to manage the steps leading to it, to overcoming obstacles, to try to figure out the best routes. And that's how it is. And that's why you look at Allah created the heavens and the earth in 6 days. But why? It is to teach us that it takes time. This stage takes from you time to accomplish something. And taking time means you have to be patient. And patience means to stretch things because, what's the opposite of being patient? Things happening instantaneously. But patience means things need time, needs staging, need to think about them and, plan for them. And that's what causes means. A cause is something that leads to something else. And then that something else that was caused by the first cause will actually lead to another thing. And it's kind of a chain reaction. Something is reacting to the thing before it. And that's how you get the effect. How this is how this stage of life works. Because life is not this world only. Life is this world, is the world after, and then finally the hereafter. So it's all connected. We are passing through it, and you know, each one of those stages in life has its characteristics. So cause and effect, work, getting things done, they actually subdued and governed by the laws of this world. Therefore, when we go, inshallah, to heaven, the laws of the heaven is that whoever lives there, they can order for something and it becomes. They don't need to work for it. It is only their will. They wish for something and it's there. So in this world, we have some laws and some rules and conditions for things to happen, then other things happen. In the hereafter, in heaven, you don't have those rules. It is different rules. So Allah created this world in a way, and if we actually respect Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if we actually you know obeying Allah, then we should follow the rules and the laws which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created and embedded in this stage, in this world. And this is why you see the Western world um, actually more advanced than the Islamic world. What is the reason? The reason is that the Western world actually looked at the reality of how God created things. God created things in a certain way with certain rules and laws, and they just understood it and they started applying it and implementing it in their work and their mentality. Even though they don't believe, some of them, in God, they just looked at the final product and they analyzed it and they worked accordingly. While Muslims, they got into some kind of, not all of them, but I think many of them got into some mentality where they think if you rely on Allah, this means you shouldn't be doing, the work. And that's totally opposite of what the Prophet did. Like, it's kind of they do not read the biography of the Prophet, or if they read it, they do not pay attention to it. It's just reading it for the sake of reading it to be blessed. But I mean, the true bless is to follow how the Prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam, blessings and peace be upon him, lived his life. As our teacher says, some people wants to live the time of the Prophet, not the spirit of the Prophet. What is the difference? The difference is that living the time of the Prophet means that you need to have the same tools, the same clothing, the same areas, the same concerns as in how things are built and so on. But no, the Prophet came as a mercy to the worlds, not to one world or to one period of time. And therefore, we need to understand the spirit of the Prophet because that's how, the companions understood it. They didn't just stay and get stuck on one thing. They actually implemented the mind which Allah created for us to use. So understanding the spirit of the Prophet will help us to employ the things we learn from him, alayhi salam, blessings and peace be upon him. And the Prophet, um, the final revelation of Allah came to teach us according to, looking at the Prophet, taking him as a role model, what the Prophet did, and we will start thinking and building this mentality, this mindset, the Islamic mindset, which was what we're talking about here. And what happened is that the Prophet hustled all of his life, the entire time he was hustling. Even the time when he actually got off Mecca and wanted to go to the Medina, he didn't say to Gabriel, "Oh, Gabriel, please come, take us, me and Abu Bakr, radiallahu an, and put us there at the Medina, just descend us there with angels to be the majestic scene of all time." No, he actually followed the laws and the rules of Allah in this world. And he went, instead of going to the direction of Medina, he went the opposite way. So he would, um, if they're following him, they wouldn't find him, kind of. And then when he starts going towards the Medina after 3 days of hiding, he actually not, went in parallel with the line of travel. He actually went in kind of zigzags. What is that? Because he understands the laws and the rules of Allah in this world, and he followed it because he respect Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah wanted this world to go in a certain direction, and the good servant, the good um, um, Muslim would follow how Allah wants things to happen. Okay, then what does reliance means? Reliance is a meaning, means that even with everything you're doing, you know that Allah is the one taking care of everything, means the results. You're doing the work, and the results doesn't come from your work. It comes from Allah creating the results. Because if you think that your work is the one that is creating the results, then what happens here is that you are associating another God with Allah, which is yourself. You're doing something and you're creating the results. No. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran says, Wallahu khaliqu kulli shay. And Allah is the creator of everything. Nothing happens in the universe except for Allah, what Allah wants. Which means whenever you want to do something and whenever you're planning for something, you do your work, which was allowed to you by Allah to do, if it was according to the Sharia, according to the rules of the revelation. Because doing something that is not according to the rules of the revelation, the rules of the Sharia, the religion, this is disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So whenever Allah is allowing you to do something according to the laws of the Sharia, means doing the halal thing, the allowed thing. What happens is that you know that whatever results you get, it is because of Allah allowed the results to show, to be there. To the point where the scholars of um, um, creed, the Islamic creed, said that Allah creates the results by the action, not the actions doing or creating or putting the results there. What does that mean? Means while right now I am moving my lungs to push the air and moving my tongue and my lips and my vocal, cords, Allah is the one creating the sound by my action. It is not my actions that are doing it. But because we are bound to see The appearances, we see that, okay, when Sohaib is talking, he's producing sound, we are understanding things. That is okay. That is what the mind sees, which is totally valid when we're talking about what is happening. But Islam is teaching us what's beyond the appearances. And they, like, they do not contradict the appearances. They do not contradict what the mind see at all. And this is the beauty about Islam, that if you get deep into it, you will see that logic, intellect, the usual things, the nature of how the universe goes, does not contradict with Islam at all. Actually, everything confirms that, Islam is correct. And not because I'm only a Muslim, as a searching person for, a person who search for truth, when I'm looking at everything, every evidence in this world and in our mind actually aligns with Islam, which is great bless because now you don't have to kind of trying to rhyme things together. They already do. You just need to push them in the right place and they actually sit there. And this will lead us to reliance on Allah because whenever you want to do something, you know that Allah is the one who allowed you to do this. Allah is the one who opened for you the ability to do this and made it available for you. And then you know that the result is a creation of Allah. So you do everything. And if things succeed, then you thank Allah because you know that He is the one who created things. He created the results for you. And so you thank Him. And if things doesn't happen, you also thank Allah or praise Allah because you know He's the one actually prevented it from happening. And you know that He loves you and He's taking care of you. So for sure, He is preventing it from happening, means that He didn't want it to happen for some reason that He knows about that you don't know about yet. So this is the mentality of reliance on Allah, at-tawakkul, because now you know that He's the creator. And the creator doesn't mean that he created something and left it. No, a creator means he's the one that with every sustenance and with every change, he's the one creating it. What does that mean? Sustenance, that means he created something, and for it to keep existing, to last, he needs to hold it in existence. He needs to keep creating it. So he's the creator in sustenance. And he's the creator in change. For that thing to change from a state to another, from a place to another, from a time, from a moment to another, from anything to another, any change happen, he's the one creating it. He's the one changing it. Every exhale, inhale, every, heartbeat, every movement, every time clicks, every anything. Because we are creatures. So when you know that, your heart gets attached to Allah. And then, because your heart is attached to Allah, you will start obeying Allah by following His laws and His rules and His conditions in this world. And you would never neglect them. Because you know that Allah, if He wants you to succeed, then you would need to produce the work, and then He's the one taking care of the results. So, cause and effect is a creation by Allah. Therefore, we, you know, we have confidence in Allah if He actually make it successful or prevents it. We know that it is Him. We wouldn't feel fear. Why? Because we know that it is the best for us. We will keep thriving, we will keep hustling, we will keep planning, but we would never um, so we would care about planning and implementing and doing, but we wouldn't care about the results What does that mean? Some people doesn't understand this. It means I would thrive for the results, therefore I would arrange and plan accordingly to gain things and prevent obstacles to reach to that result. But I cannot provide the results. So I do everything in order to reach to the results according to the universal laws, but results are not in my hand to produce or to create. So what is my duty? My duty is to see and learn from reality, to do the best plan, to do the best work, but then what happens is not in my hand, it's not in my ability. What is in my ability is whatever Allah is make available for me to do. That's anything need to be done. It is only that. Creatures can only interact with what Allah creates. They cannot create. We would interact with the universe. We would interact with our ability. We would interact with time. We'd manage everything. We would plan according to how reality goes. We would read the reality. We would start implementing with the power we have, with whatever we can, gather, but everything need to be available. Therefore, we actually do only the available things. We cannot create things that are not available. And we can go from what's available to what's not available because at the time it's, not available, we're doing what's available until we can open with what's available, what's not available. I know I said a lot of available, but that's the truth. We only interact with what is available in this world, in this reality, with what was created. I cannot make my day last for 26 hours. I have 24 hours. I need to work with that. And if I cannot accomplish my work inside of 24 hours, excluding sleep for some reason, um, but then I need to span my work on 2 days maybe, which means I'm managing. So management, planning, and implementation according to the actual availability on what I have. And that's what work and causality is. Why? Because I know God created it in this way, so I need to respect it. I cannot change it. So who are the best people who actually the most advanced and the most, sophisticated are the ones who actually understand the creation of Allah and act accordingly. So, cause and effect versus reliance, it is not actually versus. Each one is something different. Cause and effect has to do with planning and implementation, and reliance has to do with not um, struggling with what will happen. I do everything the best way possible, but I cannot create the results. That's what reliance is that you are relying on Allah. So they not contradict, they never contradict. Now, some people, what they do, what they think about reliance is that um reliance, they think about reliance that, okay, reliance means that I will sit and I will be waiting. That's not reliance. In Arabic, we call reliance tawakkul, but we call this other bad state tawakkul. Means they're not relying, they're pretending to rely. Why it's pretending? Because reliance means that you do something and you don't care about the results because they're not available for you to do. And the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam, peace and blessings be upon him, talks about reliance in a very magnificent way, very simple way. and you probably would understand it now. He said, لو توكلتم على الله حق توكله, if you rely upon Allah, the true reliance, not the fake reliance, لرزقكم كما يرزق الطير. He would give you your share as he gives it to the birds. Then he continues, يذهبون خماصا ويجيئون بطانا. They go searching for food, they go hungry, and they come with their stomach full. So they go, they do their share of the work, they do what's available for them. So reliance means you work, but you rely on Allah with whatever He does in the end. You know that it is the best for you, but you do your share. To the point where the scholar said that if a blind cat gets into your house, then you cannot kick it out. Why? Because it's blind. It cannot find its food, it cannot hunt. You need to feed it. What does that mean? It means whenever you can do something, do it. If you cannot do something, then do whatever you can. What you cannot do is not your responsibility because you cannot do it. But it's your responsibility to do what you can do. It's very simple, very easy to understand. So, do you have any questions, guys? Do you want me to explain something that is not clear yet? Okay, good. This is one of the topics about building the Islamic mindset because it's very important. It is how we build our mindset when we when we think about Allah and when we think about the universe. This is what building the Islamic mindset means. To build it the right way, to build it the Islamic way. And Islamic doesn't mean to abandon work. If you go back to history and see how Muslims actually did things, you will see that we are one of the most inventing and scientific nations ever until we started misunderstanding the correct mindset, and that's how we actually been left behind. But if we go Islamic, we would be, you know, one of the most advanced nations. We need patience. We need to understand the universe. We need to understand reality. We need to implement it correctly. So, Islamic means to be a complete human. And you would never be a complete human with a bad mindset, with a corrupt or with a wrong mindset. So, building the Islamic mindset is very, very important for us in our life. And according to it, we start building other things on top of it. It is kind of the not the common ground, it's actually the ground where we plant everything. Because if your ground is incorrect, anything you plant into it will not grow or will have diseases or will, grow incorrectly. Bad things will happen. So this is very important, very simple actually. And we're done today. And see you inshallah in the next lesson. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.